And at the end of each little session, we'll have a bit of a discussion as well. So I like trying to make things relevant to people. It's a good thing to hear strategies and concepts, but the question is, how is it relevant to me? We'll do a little bit of that for the people in the room. So let's just talk broad marketing concepts before we lead into some of this digital strategy side of it. So, and I watched, one thing I'll qualify, I'm not I have a music background, but I'm not an artist. So I'm not an expert in selling art, for example, right? But I know marketing. And marketing is basically getting someone who is looking for what you have and getting them to match that with what you're offering. So I'm not an expert in that, but I know how to market. And marketing is quite simple. You've got it, someone's got a niche, you've got something, and you're just trying to bring them together. So the first part of this is what I call market message matching. So and another thing as well is there's no compromise here. It's not like you're selling yourself out by looking at the market, because some people think if you look at the market and you start changing your product, you don't have to compromise what you do. What we're trying to do is in online marketing is trying to make what you do relevant to a group of people who actually can buy. Because it's one thing, art to be a hobby, and doing it because my wife does a lot of paintings and so on. It's something she does as a hobby. It's another thing to actually make a profitable business out of it. So you if you want to make a business out of it, but not compromise what you do, you've got to ask the question, how do I make what I do relevant to a specific group of people? And the internet is the perfect way to facilitate that. So 2 questions to ask yourself. So I want you to think about what you're offering, but you normally in marketing you start with the market. Like I said, we're not compromising, but we're just asking the question, who are they? So what are the groups of people out there that could potentially buy my products and services? And then the second question is, what do they want? So with this, you're more thinking about them, and you're thinking about how do I position what I have to be relevant to them. Also, with the message side of it, so it's target marketing. With the messaging side of it, and I have looked at a number of websites of people in this room, and I think the message is quite important, and I felt that the message wasn't clear. And when I say a message is portrayed through content, through design, and you would have a message in your art as well, but we're talking about a message to make what you do relevant to a target market. So keeping those questions in mind about who are they, what do you want, what makes you unique, what is your story, why you? One of the models we normally work with on the website is why choose you? What are some key compelling things? And people normally go off in a lot of tangents when they talk about that, but how do we break that into compelling reasons why people should choose you? So these are messages. And then what is your value offering? And looking at that offering as well, because that all ties into the website, because you end up putting what you offer to a prospective target market. What are you offering sometimes what you're offering, your price point might be too high. And there's something called a loss leader. A loss leader is you reduce your price point to build your marketing funnel, because it's 6 times more expensive to get a new client than to turn over an existing one. So maybe it might be worth looking at your offering going, well, am I offering too much now? Can I break my offering up into smaller offerings to bring them into a client base so I can work them over time? And that's when we're thinking marketing funnel, not once-off transaction. So market message matching is really looking at your market, writing those things down about your market. Who are they? If you could have a room full of people of your prospective market, what would they look like? Profiling them. What do they want? What's their needs? And then looking at what you do and your offering, and then trying to market message match that. And then the third M is media, is then how do you use media to actually facilitate that? Now, let's talk about the internet. So the internet is all about niche, right? So if we're talking market message matching, you can't be so broad. Like, you've got to zone in on some kind of target market. This is how the internet works. People are searching for something specific. So one of the exercises to do that I find, I do a lot of workshops, is actually try to break, because you might go, well, okay, so who's my market? Okay, people who want my paintings, for example, right? So, well, that's good, that's quite broad. How do you break that up into more niche markets? More targeted markets. So a niche market would be, commercial, for example. Like people have a budget for art in their hotels and so on, and you could even go more niche than that. Maybe it's hotels, maybe it's people who have offices. It's just breaking what you do up your market into little niche markets, and then zoning into that. And we'll talk about how to market to those people later on. But this is a very foundational thing: is how do you? This is a word I've come up with: nicheify your offering in your market. How do you niche that? And how this works on the internet. So we're kind of moving from strategy now. We're moving into technology and how the internet is working. It's based on these principles. So it's something called keyword research. So write that down. There's plenty of keyword research tools out there. Google used to have one called Google Keyword Tool External. They've actually taken it off. They've actually put that in the back end of Google AdWords, which is their paid advertising system. So I'm trying to qualify. Sometimes you throw these terms out and I have to explain these terms. I'm presuming not everyone is savvy with online advertising. So Google AdWords is Google's paid advertising system, and they have these tools because they want you to spend money with them. They give you the tools to find and identify these niche markets. So keyword research is basically a process where you start typing in certain key things to see search volumes, and then you're able to see real-time data of real markets. Prospective people that are looking for what you have to offer. So keyword research is critical when you're looking for a niche market. And you sometimes type in some of these keywords, you go, people are actually looking for that? Wow, I had no idea. And then you start thinking creatively and going, well, how do I match my messages and what I do to that prospective niche market? So that's the first section. Now, what I really want to focus on the people in the room today. So I don't want to focus just on these principles, because a lot of this you might have even heard before. So let's talk about this. So these are things that you would, for step one of building a marketing strategy, here are some of the things that you would need to do to start preparing this process for a digital marketing strategy. First one is come up with your target market. So maybe draw a niche marketing pie and start doing some keyword research. Then maybe on another piece of paper, let's make this super practical. Start coming up with what makes you unique and break it into messages. When you're making a message, think about how you can match that with that market. Talk about what makes you different to everybody else. What are compelling reasons why people should go with you, maybe than your competition. And then what is your value offering? So I offer this, but how do I break this offering up into maybe, like here's my bigger price point ticket item, but maybe some lower price point ticket items to build that clientele list. And then conducting some keyword research. So we'll pause on that one for a second. And I'll just do some quick examples of how this could apply to some people in the room. So, does someone here produce works of art for commercial? Yeah, okay. So, you mind asking, so what is it that you do?
I do nature photography, and then I create canvas artwork from that.
Yeah.
And create them for hotels, for businesses, and also for residential situations.
Okay. So give me a typical profile of maybe someone who would buy that nature photography in a hotel.
Well, often it's the actual owner of the hotel.
Yeah.
And they just see some of my work and go, wow, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have that
Mm-hmm.
look in my rooms. That means something to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to have that feeling in my room. And so it sort of starts from that point generally.
What's their need? Why do they decide to buy this stuff? What are their core needs to maybe change the way that their internals of their building looks?
Okay, it's usually when they're refurbishing or recently building a new hotel and needing artwork.
Okay.
And artwork's the last thing to go in the room, so everything else is done and then...
The last step is artwork. Okay.
Yeah.
And what would you say what makes your work unique to just say buying a painting?
Well, I guess, for me, I think when I take a photograph, to me I have to feel something.
Yep.
It's not just snapping something, it's something I go, wow, that is just so stunning, and to try and capture the essence of that feeling in that image and then create it on the canvas. And I've had people say that's what they feel when they see it, and I think it's that. And I think it's also that having a connection with the artists themselves.
Yep.
They meet me, and they see the work,
Yeah.
and it's something unique and different, and it's a personalised
Personalised service.
interaction.
Yeah.
And I think all those little bits and pieces add up to a story. I think I'm
Yeah.
not really sure 100% either.
Yeah, that's great. So a niche market right there is, like if to define it into a niche, would be hotel owners who are, let's say, renovating their hotel and they're at their final step. And that could be, and we'll talk about landing pages. The landing page is, are you looking for unique art for your new hotel renovation? And that's the perfect target market. That's when you're moving from a hobby. So these guys have a budget. They actually need to go, okay, 10 grand, here you go, or whatever it is. So that's a really good example of commercial is a really good market to go for. You're not compromising what you do. You're just offering it to a particular market who need what you offer. So that's great. And breaking into keyword research, so making it specific, I would actually go to a keyword tool in this case, and I'll type in maybe hotel artwork or some of those keywords and start looking for, so just definition, long tail, short tail. So short tail keywords, long tail keywords. Short tail keyword is commercial art, for example. Long tail is commercial art for motels. So long tail, that's a search terminology. So you're looking for these keywords, things people could be typing in. Now the good thing about niche marketing as well, on the keyword side of it, is quite, the competition isn't very high. So it's more cost effective to actually zone in and target that. So that's a perfect example of breaking that up. And to niche it further, you've got hotels, motels, break it up because they all have different needs. A hotel is a different price point than a motel. Corporate offices, small to medium businesses, you have maybe like a foyer, maybe like a small dental firm to a big corporate place. So these are all niche markets and they all have a different need, a different desire, and that's why niche marketing online works because you're zoning in on those target markets.